I'm just hanging out with Daisy as well.
Yes.
I know, yeah.
The one that has circular sourcing,
Ellen, this is amazing.
and then some things for them.
I first met you, Ellen, when we worked together at the fabric store back in 2017 or 2018, I think. You were one of the OGs in the sewing community, well before I even really understood what it was all about. I remember you doing your no buy, yes make challenge back then, which I thought was so cool, and running your label, Aunty Ellen. It's been amazing to watch your sewing and fashion journey evolve over the years and to see what you're doing now with Clothesminded, helping brands become more sustainable and ethical through education. What I've always really admired is how consistent you've been in your commitment to ethical fashion. You're so passionate about it even back then, and you still are today, sharing that knowledge so generously. That's why I'm really excited to chat about your journey from getting into sewing to what inspired Clothesminded, your trip to Bangladesh, and your ideas for sewing and consuming more sustainably. And I think these are such important conversations to have.
Oh, thank
Yeah,
you.
so
Excited.
So with that being said, I guess we'll just start with the first question. How did you first get into fashion and sewing?
So my grandma, Yvonne, she taught me how to sew, and I was also doing home ec at school. So I loved fashion and sewing. And then I studied at uni. I actually thought I was going to be an architect, but I put fashion down and it was portfolio based to get into the uni. And I got in and I was like, okay, let's give this a go. Yeah. So I studied fashion and business at QUT. Loved it. But yeah, that's how I kind of got into it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So did you put like a preference like architect and then fashion? And then that fashion's what came?
And fashion's what came because it was portfolio based. Yeah. And then I got into architecture too, but I had already gotten into fashion. So I was like, I'll just do this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so through doing then your studies at QUT, did you find then you were like, okay, I'll give this a go.
Yeah.
But then you discovered you're like, I
really love it. Yeah. I'm really glad I did it. Sometimes I'm like, oh, it'd be cool to be an architect, but I do really like being in this industry. Yeah.
What did you love about it when you first got into it? You were just like,
I probably didn't love the sewing, to be honest. Really? I'm a real angry and stressed sewer because I'm a perfectionist and I love everything to be perfect. But I think I love the creativity of it.
Because you've been doing it for so long now as well. It kind of just the passion is still there, obviously from even back then. Which is really cool. Yeah. So when you said your grandma, so you were sewing when you were quite little,
Probably in high school. Yeah. And so I was doing home ec and then she taught me how to sew because they didn't really teach me that much in home ec. So she decided to teach me during that time. So a
little bit of knowledge and stuff.
Yes. Yeah. And that connection with her, which was really nice.
Yeah, that's so special. Oh, how did your journey evolve into what you're doing now with Clothesminded? So you started with your grandma and then you went and studied fashion. Yeah. And now, I remember you did your label. It's all kind of tell me about the different eras.
There's so many eras of Ellen.
Yeah.
So during my study, I then worked at the fabric store. Yeah. And I kind of really love learning about fibres and fabrics. Still to this day, I love educating myself and others in that area. And then when I finished uni, I went on a textiles and fashion-based trip to Bangladesh. It really changed my view of not only the industry but kind of the world because I was still quite young. And so I came back from that experience thinking what am I going to do to be more sustainable and also teach others about this. And I think that was during COVID time when I came back. Then I started Aunty Ellen. So I was making handmade babies and women's clothing because my sister had just had her first child, so my first nephew. And I did that for a couple of years, trying to be as sustainable as possible. So using natural fibres, dead stock fabric, doing a made to order business model, kind of learning as I was going. I loved it. It just kind of got a little bit lonely in that time. So then I also found myself kind of giving advice and doing sample making for local startups and small businesses. And then, while I was doing that, I was giving advice for business and also my learnings about sustainable practices. And then I think it was my sister who was like, why don't you help other businesses with the knowledge that you have. And she's like, you could be a consultant. And I was like, what's a consultant? I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
So then that's why I started being a consultant. So now I work with mainly startup brands and help them become more sustainable in their practices.
That's so cool. And just like the journey of how it kind of evolved. And like it's always such a journey of like, of the different kind of like seasons and how. And
different learnings as well along the way. Like I feel like that's helped me because sometimes I feel like a bit of a fraud because I never learnt sustainability per se like in uni. I kind of like taught myself because I'm so passionate about it and because I saw the impact of the industry like firsthand. But I feel like you're always learning.
Yes.
And so I love to be, and I'm not perfect and I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I love to give like my advice and my
your experiences.
My experiences to other people where possible. And then also like I'm learning from them and from other people as well.
Totally.
Like constantly learning.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think that's like as well, like is there many like sustainable kind of like fashion courses that you can even really do?
I think there's more now. Okay. There's a lot more now that you can do. Not in Brisbane, but probably like externally through online or in Melbourne and Sydney. And there's a lot more consultants as well. Yeah. Which is a good thing. Like it's a growing space.
Going back to your trip to Bangladesh, I remember you telling me about that when we worked here at the fabric store.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, like, it was such a big impact on you. Can you share what you saw there? And was there a moment or a conversation that really stuck with you? Like, that made you feel like you came back and had a total different change?
It was so much. We got to see a fair trade village. So they were producing for like a People Tree as the UK brand. I don't think they're operating anymore, but it was all traditional hand weaving, traditional natural dyes. It was like a really beautiful community space and they had lots of resources available for the garment workers, like a free creche and a schooling for the kids. So we got to see that and stay in that place for a little while.
Amazing.
And then we got to see a mega factory that was producing for like Zara and H&M.
So just kind the contrast.
The contrast of that. But there were like so many benefits to the mega factory as well because like the owner that took us around, he was so proud of like what he'd built. Because they offered a free lunch every day to all their like 8,000 employees.
Yeah, wow.
For some of them, like the only meal that they have.
Yeah.
They also creating jobs for that community was just outside of Dhaka, the capital. So they had like lots of benefits to that, but it was quite eye-opening to see like just the volume.
Yeah.
And the amount of people working in one space is like insane. And then we also got to chat with a group of like female garment workers who had just joined a union. So they were learning kind of like the power of their voice in their jobs. And we got to talk to them about like what they liked and didn't like about their job. And it really, because I thought it would be all negatives, but there obviously were a lot of negatives in terms of like pay and hours.
Yeah.
But there were so many positives that they really loved the autonomy and the power that they could have to earn money for their families. Right. And it was just really lovely to connect with them firsthand. I think that was probably the most impactful part. It was so eye-opening and I would love to go back one day and just like see more.
In Australia especially, we don't have production here.
Yeah.
So we feel very far removed from the reality of
see it.
Where clothing is made and just the conditions and just like...
Exactly. Yeah. Like I couldn't help myself but to do something about it because like I've seen it.
Yeah, that made such an impact.
Yeah.
It's really kind of like led you down this
this track.
Which is really amazing. Yeah, I think that's so cool.
Yeah, I'm really glad I did it.
And was it through the uni that you did it?
No.
Yeah, you just did it on your own.
So a friend of mine, that I was studying with, she was right into sustainable fashion back then, but it was only just starting to become like a word or a thing that people were talking about.
Yes.
And she was like, Ellen, why don't you come on this trip with me? And I was like, I don't know. Like Bangladesh, is it like, can I travel there?
Yeah.
And I think it had like a no travel warning, but we were still like, let's go. Yeah, I'm so grateful for her that she just found it. They don't operate the trip anymore, which is a real shame.
Yeah.
I think they did it one more time after ours and then they cut it.
Yeah.
I think they struggled to find someone in Bangladesh that could operate it because Bangladesh is not set up for tourism as well.
Yeah.
So that even traveling there as like a white female was quite interesting and eye-opening in itself. Yeah, that experience just like really just changed my life. And to see a whole floor dedicated just to like even just straight stitching. It's like, and it's rows and rows of people just like doing the same stitch day in, day out. I'm like, I don't know how you could do that. So I think that other places would have been worse.
That wouldn't
let you in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the owners of both places we went to were really proud of like what achieved, rightfully so.
Now that you've seen it, you can't
unsee
it.
Yeah.
I feel like even just saying yes to that trip, it's just amazing that you took that chance and then how it's led you down this path.
Exactly. It like changed my whole life. Yeah.
From that trip that kind of like led you on this new trajectory of like coming back and you're like, I need to do something, or I need to kind of like make different choices myself, but also then spread education about it.
Yes.
A lot of my audience are sewers. Mm-hmm. What do you think are some ways that we can approach sewing more sustainably? Any practical or mindset shifts that you would, because I know a lot of it is about just like consuming and things, but like even sewing can be doing it in a more responsible way.
I mean, it's always like considering the fabrics and the fibers that you're using. I only use natural now because I sweat in polyester. And also considering like the trims that you're using. Like I use a lot of where possible like organic cotton threads or like a tencel thread. Sometimes the organic cotton, it can snap easily. Mm-hmm. So you've got to consider what you're using it for. I guess also like considering waste is another thing. Like I try to keep my scraps, like the larger scraps I hope to use for different projects like scrunchies and whatever. My really small scraps I kind of like pile together in like a little bin, and then I will collate them and then send them off to a textile recycler. Oh. So I send them to Apparel. They accept it. Yeah.
Really?
I think they do like mechanical recycling, so they like shred it. And make it into different like insulation and things like that.
Wow, that's so good to know, because there are like the waste and the scraps are an issue. And sometimes you don't know what to do with them. So it's good to hear that there are ways that you can, mindfully and carefully recycle them.
And I think even for me, like thinking more about what I'm making, because I went through a phase where I was making lots of silk dresses and I just wouldn't wear them. And I'm like, why are you doing this to yourself? So thinking about what I actually will wear and what I'm making. So I've set up like a Trello board full of different inspiration and different makes, and I kind of like sit on it. And like, I'm like, do I want to make this out of this fabric? Is that fabric the right fabric for this project? I kind of sit on that for like a couple of weeks like I would any other purchase, because it's kind of like a purchase as well, but like you're sewing it.
Yeah, just kind of like slowing down and kind of being like, hang on, do I want to make this because it just like is something cool and trendy? Or like,
will I actually...
Can I see this in my wardrobe in 5 years, 10 years time? I've been thinking about like how I can sew more sustainably and just like that as well. And I was listening to a talk, I think that the founder of Koto did about plastic free. And just about how like the trims and like you said, the thread and even the elastic and stuff.
Yeah, it's all polyester.
And now that's got me thinking about how can I start using some more of those like those trims and those things down to the elastics and things like that.
Everything.
And kind of just making the switch over to that type of stuff. I was really inspired by that talk, actually listening to that and kind of being like, oh, I want to go plastic free on my sewing too.
There's, I think you can go to Circular Sourcing. They've got the threads and the organic cotton and natural rubber elastic.
That was the one that kind of got me like...
Was the elastic?
And I was like, oh my gosh, that's That's something I'd never really thought about.
Yeah,
the elastic. Because I'm like, I love doing like the pearl or just like natural buttons and other things.
Yeah,
but the threads and the elastic were the two things that I was like,
what do I do? Yeah.
I can really like
I know.
change, like make a change in those two areas.
Yeah.
And now that I know about the scraps, like we'll have to link that for other people as well, because I didn't know about that. But that's really cool. I love learning about new things like that. Yeah. That's like the sewing part of things. And then for people that are making purchases of clothing with the fast fashion industry, it can feel like such a overwhelming problem, and you're just part of the system and you're like, oh, what can I do? But like, where would you suggest someone, if they just was like, where to start? They're just overwhelmed by the problem, but if they could like start somewhere in their wardrobe, in their like in their life, like where would you say for someone to start?
Well, I'm planning on kind of changing what Clothesminded offers. So moving more towards, I want to become like a change agency and kind of do more workshops and become more of a hub for this kind of knowledge as well. I've come up with kind of like a flow chart that I use and like a checklist for purchasing. So like things I consider is like, will you wear it 30 plus times?
Yeah.
And things like, can I get it secondhand first? Considering natural fibers, looking into the brands, are they actually more sustainable or have sustainable practices, or are they just greenwashing you? And that's going to be coming out hopefully soon.
That's exciting.
To have like a resource to people.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to have a bit of a directory as well. So like things to like listen to, things to watch, things to read, to kind of like.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like 'cause once you kind of step into this kind of sustainability or mindful consumption world, I feel like it can be overwhelming and you just don't know where to start. That's how I felt when I came back from Bangladesh, because I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
So I think getting all this knowledge is kind of nice to have in one place, but I think it starts with, considering your purchases and like sitting on things as well. Like I said before, I think it's really important to be like, okay, am I consuming for the sake of consuming, or do I need this? I would recommend people to do those like no buy challenges, because it really changes your perceptions of like consumption. And I mean, it's hard though, like I'm not perfect, like I still buy things. It's hard when we're surrounded by, we live in like a consumerist society. So I'd also say like considering who you're following on like Instagram, TikTok and whatnot, like are they subconsciously making you consume?
Because like, I didn't know I wanted that, and now I do.
Yeah,
and
now
I feel like
you
I've like
do.
got this like hole in, and I need to fill it with that
I need
thing.
to fill it with that. Yeah.
But it was like you didn't even know that was
you
needed it in the first place. Yeah.
So I think it's considering like what media you're surrounded by.
Yeah.
Which is a big thing to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a bit about your no buy yes mate. Was that like a whole year that you just...
Yeah, I did a whole year. So when I came back from Bangladesh, I had told my mum about, like I found a couple of people, like different organisations that do a no buy challenge, or like a 90-day no buy challenge, and I told my mum about it, and she was like, oh, why don't you do like a sewing one instead? And I think she coined like the term. And I was like, she's so creative. And so because I wanted to challenge myself based on consumption. And then I thought, I was working at the fabric store in that time as well, so I'm surrounded by that environment of making and have access to fabrics, etc. So I think it was really good to also consider my purchasing behaviours and consumption ideologies, but also kind of improve my sewing and kind of slow down with my sewing and be more intentional with that. Because like I mentioned before, I kind of am a bit of a stressed out perfectionist sewer. So I think during that time I actually really enjoyed sewing, and it kind of changed my perception of sewing as well.
Yeah. How did you find like not consuming for a whole year? Did like
it's hard. Yeah, it's really hard.
Yeah, when things would come up and you're like,
I'm like, oh, I really want that.
Yeah.
And I feel like you can do those challenges that are like only secondhand. It's just really important to just like really sit on things more and just think about it a little bit more. Like that urge will pass.
Yes. And I think you probably don't remember even those things that you wanted.
No idea.
Like,
yeah.
Back then when you're like,
oh, I needed that.
You really need it. Yeah. But then you realize, like you said, that urge passes for that, like you want to buy that thing.
Yeah.
And you're like, it wouldn't have filled that,
that hole.
Yeah. Anyway.
And I think you also become a little bit more creative, like with your clothing. Like I'm not much layering, but I think I learnt a little bit more of like how to layer or how to style different things in that time, which was kind of a nice experience as well. Yeah.
I think that's so important sometimes. Like sometimes we do just need to challenge ourselves.
I think so.
Step outside of just, I'll just become a more sustainable person and I'll try to. But sometimes you just need to be like, no, I have some boundaries around what that looks like to actually make that
make
happen.
A change.
To actually make
and
a
hold
change.
yourself accountable to it as well.
Yeah.
And I think like once you tell people that you're doing it, or if you want to tell Instagram that you're doing it, then you're definitely held accountable. And people are interested. People always ask me about it. So it's like, it's really.
And people still ask you about that. Yeah. You need to bring it back then. I feel like you need to coin. Oh, you're doing a lot of other things.
I should do it. I really should.
Yeah, because I mean, I remember like that from like,
amazing. And like, I know. Yeah.
And I thought that was just like so cool. Like, that you were doing that. How has your learning more about the industry's impacts changed your own style? Yeah.
That's a tough one because like, as I said before, I still buy things. And I also think style changes with age.
Yeah.
And body changes. And so many different factors. But I do think because I'm more mindful, or try to be more mindful, that I have more of a classic kind of style, or I like something with a little bit of an interest or a bit of a twist, but I'm not one that's like really out there in terms of colours and things like that.
Yeah.
So I think it's like, it made me kind of stick to things that are like basics. Yeah. But then also infuse that with a little bit of more, I don't know, fun things.
Yeah. So having kind of like more staple pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not just kind of like, oh, this looks like a
trendy
cool thing. Like, so just.
And it's really hard because I love fashion so much and I love the creativity of it. I also think that I follow a lot more people that are really creative, you know, like people that live in like Copenhagen, love to go there, and they have like really fun style. Yeah. And it's like being able to look at it and appreciate it, but know that you don't need it, or that maybe it's not for me at this time. So it's like collating that as well. Like I love going on Pinterest and doing a Pinterest board or a Trello board or something. I think maybe like respecting and enjoying fashion for like looking at it, not always like consuming it.
Yeah, sometimes you do think like, oh, that's like, that looks really cool.
That looks really cool,
like, but you know, realizing that doesn't need to, I don't need to have it.
That. Yeah.
And there are so many different styles out there and niches, just being able to appreciate it without being like, oh, I have to wear that to be cool or fit in like what's currently trendy. Yes. I guess you go through more of like a self-reflection of like, what do I actually like?
Yes. And what do I wear?
Yeah.
Like what do I gravitate towards?
That's such a good mindset around it. What gives you hope about the future of fashion and sewing?
Ooh.
Because there's a lot of like,
big question.
There's a lot of negativity and be like, how can we change the problem?
Yeah.
But what are some things that give you hope about like?
And I mean, I'm conscious of the fact that sometimes I'm in a fashion sustainability bubble. Yeah. So sometimes when I come out of that, I'm like, oh, this is scary. But there are good things. I think the number of people that are becoming more mindful of the issue is good. And that brings me hope. I've also been doing a lot of school workshops about sustainable fashion. That's kind of like where I'm pivoting the business towards. And I think that gives me hope as well, because I think seeing those students be more engaged and curious about things is really empowering, because they're the next generation. I mean, and they've grown up with fast fashion as well. I really want to even start the school workshops at a young age, even like grade 4 or something, and really instill that.
That's amazing.
I think it's the notion of like that curiosity is really important, like asking like why things are done the way that they're done, and then they can change it in the future. But I think that gives me hope as well.
I think that younger, like really young age, learning about that, that's where a lot of generational change can happen. Because sometimes you go, oh, just, you know, you've already been in a
so
cycle
hard.
of like
that's why it's so hard for like my age group or people like older than me to change just, your behaviors.
But then that's why I really like appreciate what you're doing about with everything that you're doing. I think it's like such an important conversation to have. And like I follow your Clothesminded Instagram page and I'm always like learning new things. I'm like, I need to reshare this. Like you've got such like, you're like on the ball with anything that's happening in the sustainability like area. And I think that's like, I think it's really inspiring that you just like are really passionate about, you know what's happening, and you also just share so much for others like to learn as well. Share more. And I guess do you have any favorite resources or people you'd recommend? Obviously you want to compile your
I want to compile it, so
which is amazing, but anyone that you
from
like,
there that stands out. I mean, I could share like a podcast or a podcast, a book, and a film or something.
Yeah, that sounds great.
The podcast, probably Claire Press's Wardrobe Crisis. Love that. Film would be The True Cost. I feel like so many people haven't seen that. And it's still so relevant today because I think that was done ages ago.
I remember watching it. And that was just like one of the first ones that came out to really change the issue on.
Put it forward.
Just, exactly.
And then
and the book.
Probably Sundressed by Lucienne Tonti. It's all about natural fibres.
Oh, amazing.
She's Australian.
I'll
it's
have
really
to check
good.
that out. I haven't heard of that one.
And even like a brand, I love Ganni. I'm obsessed with Copenhagen at the moment. Denmark, the whole place.
The whole vibe.
I had never been, but I really want to go next year. They have a whole Instagram account that's like Ganni Lab, and it's all about journey to become more sustainable.
That's amazing.
It's really nice to like follow that as well, because they say that they're not perfect because they're selling product, and like you can't ever be fully sustainable if you're
there's always
but they're addressing that, and they're trying to be as sustainable as they can be. So it's really nice to see that.
And that's really good having you know, people honest about the process and the behind the scenes, and not kind of shying away from that. Like, oh, we're not perfect, so let's just hide the whole process. It's like, we're not perfect, but we're trying, and like here's the ways we are doing better. And they have a really good book as well. I just finished reading. In Australia, like I guess how are we doing in like the consumerism sector, like in terms of fashion?
So we're the biggest consumer per capita in the world. So we've overtaken America. We consume on average 53 items of clothing per person a year, and that's new clothing. It needs to stay within 5 to 7 items of clothing to be within our planetary guidelines.
53. Does that include like
anything new?
Anything? Like
which doesn't
underwear
actually sound like a huge amount when you break up into a year, but it is. Like it adds up.
That's like one piece a week. That's crazy.
I mean, I used to consume like that.
I need to keep a track of things that I consume, because like I'm not even sure. Like I think to myself like, oh, I don't.
I don't do that.
But then I guess I don't even really have a log, or like, and people don't even track to realize that they would be doing
and there's
that.
different apps and things that you can use to track things, which is interesting as well. Or like even tracking how many times you wear something.
I like how you were mentioning about you want to create that checklist of like the questions. Of like, do I
like a bit of a flow chart. I think it'll be
before you buy something.
Because that's what I go through mentally. It's like I can see this flow chart whenever I'm going to buy something. So I think I want to put out that,
because you need to have that kind of like friction between like, oh, I'm just going to buy it, but actually going through those steps of like, will I wear this? Like, is, you know, all of those kind of there's questions to ask yourself, because sometimes it's just so easy to
just buy something,
and swipe and stuff. But I think that's why I wanted to chat to you today, because I even find I learned so much from following your page and stuff. So I was like, I wanted to come and just like, you know, pick your brain about more of the sustainability stuff, because it's interesting. Like even being in the sewing community, I might know a bit more than even the average person, but I feel like there's still ways that I can like learn, and even just things that I've learned from you today and share with other people as well is so important.
I think that's really important, to always be curious and always be sharing that information with everybody.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Why do you think people should sew?
Well, I actually watched the have you seen the Quilters documentary on Netflix?
Yes.
So
Chris watched it too. We loved that.
I cried.
So did we.
And I never cry in like watching anything apart from like Titanic. But I think that was such a perfect documentary to kind of showcase the power of sewing. It brings people together, to see those men like come together and be like, oh, I've got this issue. It's so nice to be like in that like community space. And then also the power that comes from like thinking about something and then making it into a physical product. That sense of achievement is really nice. And the creativity of it. And also just understanding how long it takes to make something. Because boy, oh boy, like even like I've been sewing for a significant part of my life, but it still takes me time to sew something. So it's like once you realize that, it just changes your perception of everything. So I think everyone needs to learn how to sew. I think it's a really important skill to have.
I think so too. That's what I always say is like once you sew your own clothing, you don't look at it in the same way.
No.
And then that also flows onto how you consume as well. Because you can't just buy something, you know, off the shelf for that cheap. You're like, that would take someone like
it.
You do question it. And then I think, it just makes you a more mindful consumer. I think that's what I like about, I mean, it's not the only part of the equation with this whole sustainability, but I think it is a big part.
I think it's a big part, and it should be like a foundational skill that lots of people have.
Especially even like some people say, oh, the sustainable ethical brands are like super expensive, I can't afford them, so you know, but I think sewing that fills the gap there. You know, you want these beautiful things made in like lovely fabrics and things that maybe is like, you know, it does cost a lot more to make them sustainably, and if people don't have, they feel like, oh, well, I don't have access to that.
Access to it.
Sewing is where, comes into that part as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It's more accessible. So now that you do tutoring at university in the fashion sector for sustainability, like how did you get into that?
I think a friend of a friend, because the different unit coordinators of the subjects usually find their own tutors for that particular course, which is an interesting way to go about it, but that's how you kind of get into that role. So a friend of a friend was looking for someone for a design subject about how to make QUT more sustainable. And I was like, okay, I'll give this a whirl, because my parents are teachers. So I'm like, I think it's in my blood that I'm a bit of a teacher. So I just gave it a go, really threw in the deep end with it. I literally just like rocked up, and thank God I had a co-tutor for that subject, because she helped me kind of like work out my teaching or tutoring style. I try to be as approachable as possible, because I'm not the most articulate person, but I think it's helped me become a little bit more articulate and a little bit more comfortable with public speaking as well, because I've always got things I want to say, and I'm just like, I want to get it out there. But I really enjoy it. Like I really enjoy teaching people in general, specifically about these like subjects that I'm really passionate about as well. Really enjoy it. And then that's kind of led me towards doing these school workshops as well, because now I'm seeing even the gap of knowledge from these like fashion students when they come to uni. They just have no idea, and it's not their fault, about a lot of things that's going on with the world, and in particular sustainable fashion. So I was like, maybe we need to go younger.
Yeah.
And that's where the power is to really influence them.
Yeah. And teaching is such a powerful way to kind of instill those values into others.
I think
because
so.
it's just like it ripples then.
Yes.
On to
like hopefully they'll go home, tell their parents about something, and then they'll be like, oh, okay, that sounds really interesting. And then
not minimizing the impact that that can actually have on someone, but then on like you said, their friends and their family and stuff. And I think that's it's so important. So that's so cool. Is there a
project? I can't
like sewing project that stands out to you as like
I'm trying
a really
to think.
special piece, or like a special occasion piece, or maybe it was really like a difficult piece that you're like, oh, but then I overcame it.
Oh, they're all difficult. Probably my collection.
Yeah.
So at uni, I do a 6-look collection.
Yes.
That was over, I think, like 6 months that we had to do that. And I got a lot of help from my grandma in that time. I was living with her in that time, and I think she was so sick of me because I'm a huge perfectionist. I wanted to be as like artistic and out there as possible. So I think it was a real challenge to kind of construct that. But I'm really proud of that collection. Like I still really love it to this day, which is nice because lots of people don't like their collection that they made.
There's a lot of tailoring and things in it.
It was like really deconstructed, and it was kind of looking at, it was called, I can't remember the name of it, Vujade, which is the opposite of deja vu. So like taking things that you've seen many times before but changing it. So I kind of did like,
that's such a cool concept.
I tried to change the function of things. So I had like a top that was made up that looked like a pair of pants. And like a deconstructed like coat that also like was kind of like into a pair of pants as well.
Wow.
Yeah. So I really liked the artistic side of that. To be able to express that was really great. Yeah. And clothing that like has some value to them. Cool. So we talk about that we go around and talk about it. And then this is the mindful purchasing tree. So
okay, Some people don't.
Some people just have it, or you don't have the business acumen.
Yeah. And also Chris's mum, parents. And because it's tricky doing it in Adelaide with Joe. I always say Ghani, Ghani. And is it koto or some people say kowtow?
I think it's, oh my God, I always forget. I think I used to say koto.
I say koto.
You know, we had cotton under here. It's actually cellulose.
Yes.
And then explaining that one is always hard.
Regenerated, the viscose rayon.
And then I go through
that
like
so cool.
And then at the end, I get them to write down in these bubbles what they'll do to be more sustainable. But I've got some ideas here as well.
Find nothing to challenge. Check your labels more. Men clothes. Rent something for an event. Upcycle, dyeing, embroidery, etc. Support small sustainable brands. Try. Your wardrobe and what you like as well. Yeah. I'm so happy. Thank you.